Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our Essex Harmony. Summer concert. What a beautiful day that we have today. I woke up in Gloucester. I have a little summer house in Gloucester. I woke up on the beach at 4 in the morning. I'm an early morning person. The birds were whistling at 4:07. I write down when the birds come up. And they beat the birds here. 4:12, the earliest the birds have come up here. But I have a game that I play. I have a balcony off my bedroom and I go out around 4 and I wake the birds up. And you can do that. People go, well, that's not fine. You can do that. You're just about to, you do. Okay. He's very strange. Anyways, what a lovely day. We had a great week last week with all the rain. I'm a gardener, so I'm very happy when I hear that it's raining. And get very upset when I hear the meteorologist saying, oh, what a beautiful day, there's not a cloud in the sky. And I'm very disappointed when I hear that. So we're in for a real treat. I've listened to some of your lovely voices and Tom. So enjoy the concert.
Welcome to our annual almost summer concert. It's not yet been consistently bright and warm, but we're on our way, and we have optimism for what's to come. We're beginning to remember the carefree days of summers past also. We also acknowledge recent and not so recent times of challenge, which we continue to experience in this country. And that's part of the title, Remembrance and Hope. Our gift of music is shared with you in anticipation that together we can soothe our souls and spread hope to others. The Essex Harmony brings our typical varied collection of songs spanning the years from 1700s to contemporary days. Together, we remember the sacrifices that many have made in the past, and we celebrate the possibility of happier days for everyone. Please remember to silence your cell phones or other electronic devices. And we thank you ahead of time. The first song, there we go. I was wondering if I had to read it. You can see what it is. It's one of the older ones that we share with you today. Justin Morgan was born in Springfield, Mass. in 1747. After buying land from his father, he lived his entire life as a farmer. When he moved to Randolph, Vermont, he was also a tavern keeper, a traveling singing schoolmaster, a town clerk, and a tax collector. It's said that he received a colt with 2 other horses in payment for a debt. That colt, whose name was Figure, led to his success as the breeder of Morgan horses, the first American breed that still survives. Morgan used Psalm 63 with text written by the English hymn writer Isaac Watts for this popular fuguing tune. The music begins with all voices singing together, then continues with each section entering one at a time, and by the end, all the musical threads merge. The style was also the favorite of the singing schoolmaster William Billings, who stated, quote, variety is always pleasing, and it is well known that there is more variety in one piece of fuguing music than in 20 pieces of plain song. For while the tones do most sweetly coincide and agree, the words are seemingly engaged in musical warfare. Now here, now there, now here again, oh enchanting, oh ecstatic. Montgomery is still popular with singers of old American tunes and was published in the 1991 edition of the Sacred Harp Tune Book.
Early, my God, without delay, I haste to seek thy face. My thirsty spirit fades away without thy cheering grace. So the pilgrims on the scorching sands of heaven's presence dwell. Not life itself with all her joys can my best passions move, or is right one cheerful voice as thy forgiving love.
Thus till my last expiring days,
Thus till my last expiring day, I'll bless my Lord and King. Thus will I lift my hands, thus will I lift my hands to pray. Thus will I lift my hands to pray, and tune my lips to sing.
This upcoming simple song is regarded as one of Appalachia's most beautiful folk hymns. Most agree that it is likely from Harlan County, Kentucky, but opinions regarding its true source varies. Some claim it is a Shaker tune, a spiritual, a plantation work song, a Native American song, it's copyrighted in 1918 in the Native American Church Hymnal, a Baptist hymn, or an English folk song. The title is also debated. Bright morning star, that is to say Venus, seen both in the morning and in the evening as the stars fade, or stars, in which case it's a theological reference to heaven, or to Jesus rising to heaven, because stars don't rise in the morning. The song was collected by Alan and Elizabeth Lomax in 1937 and is cataloged in the Archive of American Folk Song at the Library of Congress. But the earliest verified reference is in the 1917 obituary of Elder Elias Stanley in North Carolina. Quote, "With the sweetness of his voice to praise the Lord in song, and in death, as the sunlight of heaven beamed into his soul, he sang, 'Bright morning stars arising, day is breaking in my soul.'" Recorded by many artists, the song's verses may be similar or have been rewritten to include multiple new verses, as many as 6 or more. The arrangement we sing is short, succinct, and expressive, reverent, warm, and full of hope. Its simplicity is eloquent.
Bright morning star arising, bright morning star
Kate Rusby, a current English songwriter, and who wrote the next song, is well versed in both traditional and contemporary styles, and even though she was born in '79, she's already been performing for 30 years. Called the superstar of the British acoustic scene and the first lady of young folkies, Kate shares that her voice and her knowledge of the old traditional tunes began to develop when, as a child, she sang with her siblings in the back seat of the family car on the way to folk festivals where their parents sang. She once said, "What appeals to me about the old songs are the stories and the simple way they are written. Some are painfully sad, and it is those that draw me in the most." As an interpreter of traditional songs, one reviewer said, "She's becoming a better writer, too." She also includes her own intuitive songwriting as she crosses into the culture of pop music. You'll hear the influence of these old tunes and Kate's intuition as our quartet sings Underneath the Stars. It is a song of leaving that's gently touching, stilled out, and with a gentle nod to Rusby's short South Yorkshire roots. And if you're a lover of folk festivals, you might be interested in the recurring Under the Stars festival that takes place in a beautiful field at a working dairy farm in Yorkshire, England. This August, 4th through 6th, 2023, tickets needed, call ahead for Essex.
Underneath the stars you met me. Underneath the stars you left me. I wonder if the stars regret me. At least you go. Underneath the stars. stars you met me. Underneath the stars you left me. I wonder if the stars regret me. I'm sure they'd like me if they only met me.
They come and go of their own free will.
Gently, gently,
Oh,
gently, gently,
Gloucester is another of the oldest songs we sing today. It is from the singing school tradition that was concentrated in this area of New England after the Revolution. Singing school masters earned their living in ordinary ways, but also supported themselves by writing, publishing, and teaching choral music. You will again hear a fuguing section. The composer Jacob Kimball was born in Topsfield, 1761, the son of a blacksmith and the leader of singing at his local meeting house. He was also a fifer and drummer at the battles of Lexington and Bunker Hill in 1775. Intended for everyday townspeople, singing schools flourished and led to the development of a unique style of American music. Kimball again used words written by Isaac Watts. Isaac Watts was a nonconformist, not part of the Anglican Church. He was considered non-denominational and ecumenical, more interested in education and learning than other churches of his time. He was particularly attracted to the poetry in the Bible, primarily in the Old Testament Psalms. He considered David a poet who was divinely inspired, and he further believed that the Psalms should be updated and renovated in the language of the New Testament. That's in the 1700s. Gloucester is grounded in and inspired by Psalm 136, with an encouragement to praise and to feel the hope offered by the Lord, with the wonders of grace that are shared with us here on earth.
Give to the Lord immortal praise, mercy and truth are all his ways. Wonders of grace to God belong.
repeat his mercy,
Repeat his mercies, repeat his mercies in your song. Give to the Lord of Lords renown,
the King of kings, with glory crowned. His mercy,
mercies ever shall endure. When lords and kings
are known no more.
When lords and kings are known no more. He built the earth, he spread the sky, and fixed the starry lights on high. Wonders of grace to God belong.
Repeat his mercies,
Repeat his mercies, repeat his mercies in your songs. He fills the sun with morning light. He bids the moon
direct the night. His mercy ever shall
mercies ever sent his Son with power to save from guilt and darkness and the grave. Wonders of grace to God belong.
Repeat his mercies.
Repeat his mercies. Repeat his mercies in your song. Through this vain world he guides our feet
And leads us to his heavenly seat. His mercies,
mercies, mercies, ever shall endure. When this vain world
shall shine no more.
When this vain world shall be no more.
Well, most of us are familiar with the next song, and we can almost automatically hear it in our minds. The successful musical songwriting team of John Kander and Fred Head originally wrote the song for their friend, Kay Ballard, who at the time was a familiar stage and television actor, comedian, and singer. Ms. Ballard had already lost the opportunity to sing a different Kander and Ebb song, A Gift to Her, but sung by Barbra Streisand. Kay later asked for another gift, a song to be titled, Maybe This Time? The team happily wrote that song for her, but it received acclaim when sung by Liza Minnelli in the movie version of Cabaret. Now, surprisingly, this well-received song was not part of Cabaret the show in '66. Liza Minnelli's performance years later brought interest to both the film and the song in '72. Maybe This Time continues to be a favorite. It's been interpreted with various expressive styles: hopeful, gentle, confident, heartbreaking, nostalgic, pleading, or as a soaring ballad. Kay Ballard later reminisced, I went on to other things, but I think those songs could have changed my career. Then in a brighter tone she added, well, as long as you're alive, you're still just a phone call away from being hot again. Miss Ballard lived and worked until the age of 93. And John Kander, one of the writers, continues to write songs for Broadway at 96. Enjoy John Arthur as he shares his interpretation of Maybe This Time.
Well, thank you, Beth. I didn't know what you were going to say. And it was wonderful. Anyway, I love Liza Minnelli. 1972 when this came out. I thought Liza was the best thing since iced tea. And I loved her, and I used to sing it all the time. I had no idea what it was about. Now I do.
It's always glitches. I can fix that.
Hello, hello. Good. Maybe this time different.
Our next song, Invitation, is also from the popular singing school movement, and it's even older than Montgomery by 6 years. It too was written by Jacob Kimball, who is considered an outstanding singer, teacher, and composer of music. However, those were his only successful undertakings. He had studied at Harvard, taught school in Ipswich, and even practiced law in Salem, amongst various other jobs. The song was published anonymously in a tune book that he edited called the Essex Harmony, and that's the source of our group's name. By 1820, Invitation was his most popular song and has been published in 28 different tune books. Sadly, Kimball died in poverty at the Topsfield Almshouse, July 24th, 1826, and was buried in the town cemetery. This song is a love poem written by Isaac Watts and also inspired by the poetry in the Bible, but this time from words found in the Song of Solomon. It is a description of one lover's longing for his partner to come as quickly as possible over the hills where the spices grow. Watts often included descriptions of the lush flora and fauna that he enjoyed in England. Billings' first public appearance as a self-taught church musician was in Boston in 1769 at the age of 23. Self-taught. He composed his own songs, perhaps even writing them on the walls of his tanner shop with chalk, and in the next year, at the age of 24, he published his first tune book, The New England Song Singers. Billings' work is considered to be a breakthrough with its combined use of both religious and secular influences. He was known for working with a wide variety of texts, using biblical passages, either original or adapted, and his own patriotic fervor or other self-written texts, which he then set to music in a wide variety of styles and harmonies. Is Any Afflicted? And our next song, Lamentation Over Boston, both written in 1778, are older than the other early American songs we've sung today by 10 to 15 years. Included in Billings' most popular tune book, it established him as America's most prominent musician of that time period. The song starts ponderously in a minor mode, then quickly changes mood as the melody shifts to a major key. A joyful song. Billings invites all of us to sing and make melody in our hearts.
Teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs. Singing and making melody, singing and making melody, singing and making melody in your hearts to the Lord. Singing and making melody, singing and making melody, singing and making melody in your hearts to the Lord.
Remembrance is anchored by the Boston Massacre. 250 years ago, the composer William Billings grieved over Boston's fate during British occupation. There had been years of steadily increasing tension and hostility on both sides. The Boston Massacre happened in 1770, and Lord Percy wrote home to England, quote, "Things now every day begin to grow more and more serious," end quote. The battles of Lexington and Concord, and at Bunker Hill and Breed's Hill, with the burning of Charlestown and England's harsh control of Boston, sparked the revolution. Remembrance is also anchored by the Boston Marathon bombing. This year was the 10th anniversary of the Boston Marathon bombing, and many of us can remember the impact that event had, as it was and continues to be well chronicled by the media. Both Boston and Watertown were locked down. Grief, fear, and anxiety, as well as further medical procedures and rehabilitation, continue for many. Remarkably, this anthem, a lamentation, provides us a timely reminder to remember still, with multiple admonitions against forgetting. The text sections are structured using both Psalm 137 and passages from Jeremiah. There are repetitive musical phrases that imitate the grief of weeping, and then graphically enumerate all the perils that will happen should I forget thee. That is to say, if we forget God. Supported by phrases from his other patriotic songs, it becomes clear that Billings implores all people, especially Americans, to follow God's principles, for God is the eternal King, Jeremiah 10. The slides that accompany the song's text also include tasteful artwork of paired images from the American Revolution and the Boston Marathon bombing.
This is particularly meaningful for me. Back when there was half of what you see here, I had run 7 Boston marathons and was scheduled to run in this particular one, but because of an injury, a knee injury, I had to bow out. And at that time, I probably would have been right in the middle of that chaos. So when we put this together, what struck me most was that what Billings had written back in the 1700s was, gee, it's meaningful today. So hope you can enjoy it as much as, or in memory of it as much as I do. Thanks.
or American spiritual, has unknown origins. It refers to a biblical time when the people of Israel were exiled in Gilead, a region of Jordan. In God's eyes, they were living in a time of wickedness and suffering. The text comes again from the words of the prophet Jeremiah in the Old Testament. Is there no balm in Gilead? Why is there no healing for the wounds of God's people? That was a time of oppression, similar to the experiences of the enslaved people during our Civil War. However, this hopelessness can also be interpreted differently. According to the Black theologian Howard Thurman, around 1960, he wrote, "The slave caught the mood of this spiritual dilemma and with it did an amazing thing. He straightened the question mark in the biblical passage into an exclamation point. There is a balm in Gilead. It's a note of creative triumph." Thurman further states, "Life is its own restraint. If the nation is to be beloved, it needs a rebirth of high and holy moral courage as an expression of the true genius of our democratic government." The first version of the song using the phrase sin-sick soul is found as early as 1779, with a focus on one's spiritual state, but not one's physical injuries. Passed along through oral tradition, it was likely popular during the post-Civil War Reconstruction period. Other variations of this song eventually developed into the more familiar one published for the Fisk University Jubilee Singers, an all-black chorus, in 1907. It refers to spirituals as not generally known save in certain small localities, and advises that they be sung not to impress people with one's own voice or voice culture, but to abandon oneself entirely to their own spiritual nature. To describe the music fitly, it is syncopated, rhythmic, a sacred melody. Usually sung with 3 verses, we sing a two-verse version of Balm of Gilead that is like the one originally arranged by Henry Thacker Burleigh, a respected Black American classical composer, arranger, and professional singer in 1919.
There is
Carl's a friend of mine. We made music together for 30 or 40 years. He was probably one of the finest guitarists I ever known. We called him the man with 10,000 chords, and he could on the spot create a song. Last concert I mentioned, one day he had a want to brag when he wanted to, and he said, "I can write a song about anything." I said, "Yeah, I'm writing about rhododendrons." He goes, "What the heck's a rhododendron?" The next day he came back with the song, okay, complete. So anyways, in line with this, what we're talking about today, the memorial to the Boston Marathon, always the critic. He wrote 2 songs. One of the casualties of the Boston Marathon bombing that was most striking was the young boy, Martin Richards. He was about 8, 10 years old. And he had his whole life ahead of him. And 2 of the songs that Paul wrote kind of brought the whole thing back to mind to me. One is called Cradle Board. A cradle board is what I grew up with thinking of, we used to call it a papoose. It was a series of sticks, usually willow, with rabbit fur wrapped around it that they used to carry the kids around with, okay? And it was called a cradle board, and he wrote that particular song. The second one is The Young Ones Sing. Now you'll notice from the pictures on this, they're all AI generated, by the way. None of the children are smiling, okay? Because the song is The Young Ones Will Sing, okay? If things turn out to be the way they should. So, anyways. 1, 2. That's better. That's not too loud, is it? Okay. Whoops. That's not the way to do it. 1, 2. Bless the child who's safe and warm, wrapped inside the cradle, child of dreams and you tomorrow, breath of life, free from sorrow. Little flower, blossom of spring, all creation dances and sings. Morning cloak of butterflies fills the earth with rainbow skies. Creation's cradle home, responding to situations. Creation's cradle home, protecting generations. Child who's safe and warm, wrapped inside the cradle, child of dreams and you tomorrow, That was a very gentle song. This one, I think you'll find a little different. That's right, he has to detune the guitar. This takes a second.
Young ones will sing songs to bring laughter of a land that's golden with harvest. The young ones will sing songs to bring laughter of a land that's golden with harvest. With the eye of a painter, with the heart of a poet, and the ear of a singer. When young ones sing, the young ones will sing, and the drums will soon sound, and the herald of a new morning. The young ones will sing, and the drums soon will sound, and the herald of a new morning. With hearts that are full, with expressions of wonder, joined to a golden ocean in the field of plenty. When the young ones sing, the young ones will sing songs to bring laughter of a land that's golden with harvest. Young ones will sing songs to bring laughter of a land that's golden with harvest. With the eye of a painter, with the heart of a poet, and the ear of a singer, melodies that ring so true. When the young ones sing.
In the 1950s, Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel grew up in the same neighborhood, became friends in elementary school, and as teenagers began to sing and perform together. They were also recording while in high school. After graduation, that's 58, each pursued their own musical interest in college studies, often separately. They were inspired by the Everly Brothers and later folk music, and their first shared album, Wednesday Morning 3 a.m., was released in 1964, but it did not go well. Simon moved to England to perform, but after he returned in '65, they got back together and toured in the U.S. college circuit. This pattern of singing together, splitting up to develop their own individual interests, and later returning to sing together, has continued throughout their careers. 2 albums quickly followed, both in 1966. Singles were released, they performed and appeared on TV, songs were in the movies like The Graduate. Simon and Garfunkel were very busy, working together and becoming more famous, but they were also burning out. Their 4th album took longer to release, in '68. Now those were also stressful years in the United States. There was Vietnam War and the hostile anti-war demonstrations. Martin Luther King's protest with his unexpected killing, JFK's assassination, protests by Cesar Chavez with migrant farm workers, and the Poor People's March on Washington. Those events were televised live and intensely covered. Now Simon and Garfunkel used those social themes and events in their music. Bridge Over Troubled Waters, their 5th and final album, was released in 1970. That's just 6 years after the first album. It was a best-selling album of 1970, 71, and 72, and became the best-selling album of all time at that time. They also won 7 Grammy Awards. Now, Alan Toussaint, the famous New Orleans musician, declared that song had 2 winners, Paul Simon and God. Paul revealed that he had no idea where it came from. It just came all of a sudden. In fact, it was influenced by a Bach chorale, a favorite Southern gospel group, and by his wife's discovery of her first gray hair. No. Once released for the radio, the title song became their best-selling song. But Simon and Garfunkel's relationship, both personal and professional, had become tense and was no longer working. They broke up as a duo in 1970. Now, 2 weeks ago, I came home from rehearsal, and during a PBS Grammy salute to Paul Simon, Stevie Wonder was singing the song, and he introduced his interpretation of Bridge Over Troubled Water. This is a healing song that the world needs now, more than ever. We sing a refreshing new gospel-style arrangement by Kirby Shaw, full of both remembrance and hope.
Pardon? Yeah, I'm in B. Well, we'll try it, but
I'll be your bridge, your troubled water. When you're down, I will carry you like a bridge on troubled water. I will lay me down. When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I'm on your side, though at times they're rough.
It's been a lovely afternoon, and I think you should all stay overnight. I have plenty of room, I really do. There's lots of rooms up there. So I want to thank Mark Rutauer. Mark is an incredibly soloist piano player. So it's just a joy to play with you. And sort of fun.
John Archer.
The person in this room is the man to my left, Tom Comedy. Dedication and excitement for music is riveting. It's truly, I love it. But thank you all, guys and girls. They all look like, I told them, movie stars. Thank you. We have a lot of come back and join us.
And enjoy this beautiful piece, this setting, incredible. So roll around, please. Thank you very much.
And because